So in the UK, this episode comes out on a Monday and I've just finished watching it. I would normally sit on my feelings and maybe write it up and have a real think about what I thought of the episode. But this one is so divisive, I just had to say something now. And I don't want to mince my words, but this episode was shit. Now I think the main culprit for that is the amount of time they've been given left. I don't know if they decided that or it was the studios or maybe the actors wanted to move on to different things. But it was not given enough time to achieve what it wanted to achieve. Obviously we had the Varys death, which I felt fit. He was bound to die eventually. He was always for the realm. Dany is not, so there was always that conflict. I thought that was dealt with really well, and the reveal of Drogon was terrifying, like really cool. Love that scene in general, the moment with Tyrion. So that was a massive plus for me. Now I do think Daenerys burning down King's Landing was always going to happen. Turning into the Mad Queen was always going to happen. But we didn't get the full build up. It's like we got to this episode and a switch has flipped. There's been no... I mean, this could have done with another 2 seasons, maybe a build up. More build up for the others, maybe a bigger fight, a longer drawn out fight, more history. It's just missed everything so far this season. And after the episode where Arya killed the Night King, I think most people thought it couldn't get much worse. Personally, I like that episode, and I have liked a lot of things I've done this season. It feels like this episode was like, oh, so that's the worst episode so far, hold my beer, and it's taken it by a mile. It's got so many cool moments. I mean, the Hound fight in the mountain was insane. Throwing Qyburn into that rock and him dying instantly was just perfect gratification for so many seasons of him in the background in Cersei's ear. That moment felt amazing, and then when the Hound finally killed him again, really cool moment. There were some really cool scenes and you really felt the downside of war, but at what cost? I feel like we've ruined so many characters this episode. Daenerys, like I say, she just flipped. That should have been a progressive thing. It should have happened over many seasons. Instead it's happened in like an evening or a couple of episodes. It didn't work. She burnt down the whole of King's Landing, killed everyone inside, her own men. She could have killed Jon, she could have killed Arya, she could have killed Grey Worm, Davos. Tyrion, she didn't care, she doesn't want to rule, she's destroyed everything. I mean, the only upside to this is we're going to see some really interesting interactions next episode when people actually finally get to Daenerys. If they do, I don't know if she'll just fly off and have baby dragons somewhere, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Grey Worm was one of my favourite characters. When he was with Barristan and Selmy and there was that whole team sort of supporting Daenerys, I really liked. He's now... I think I might have hated him more than Cersei in this episode. Obviously Cersei's painted as the... I wouldn't say good guy, but compared to Daenerys, if you just saw this episode, you would think Cersei's like the princess and Daenerys is the big bad evil person on a dragon. The bells rang, the Lannisters have surrendered, and he slaughtered them. He forced his army forward, meaning the Daenerys army was wiped out. They started killing civilians and children. It's definitely evoked an emotion from me, but whereas the Red Wedding, obviously that messed me up. Like, Robb was my favourite character, so it had an effect on me. But I could also appreciate it was great writing, it had built up well. You could see why it happened to Robb. Again with Oberyn, he was too cocky, you saw why it happened. But this is a kick in the teeth for a kick in the teeth's sake. Like, there was no build up to this. I know Grey Worm was pissed because of Missandei, but I never thought I would see Grey Worm and the Starks killing women and children. You can argue it was war, but it wasn't war anymore, they had won. It was literally almost out of pleasure. It was just such a weird episode. I felt mad watching it. I could feel how Jon felt. Obviously he was trying to stop everyone, and I was like the same. I was screaming at my screen like, stop, what the fuck is happening? Somehow the Starks are the Boltons now. Oh, this episode, I literally don't know what else to say. I'm trying to think of some redeeming qualities. The Euron and Jaime fight. I thought, wow, this fight's going to be incredible. It was kind of good, and then it just turned into like a comedy act. We've got Euron sat on the rock, I killed Jaime Lannister. There's no space in this episode for comedy, and that wasn't funny anyway. It was just such a cringy moment. I feel like a couple of seasons ago we would have never got anything like that. We got a couple of really cool Lannister moments. We got Tyrion with Jaime, and then Jaime with Cersei later on. So I mean, the Lannisters got their payoffs, they got their story end. But where's the Starks? Where's Jon's? Where's Sansa's? The only redeeming quality this show could have for me now is Sansa wiping out Daenerys and taking the throne. If you had asked me a couple of months ago, the end of Game of Thrones would have been like one of the biggest things coming for me. Like, I absolutely adored the show. Right now, I obviously I want to see what happens, but I think the care and the attention I've invested into the show is almost gone at this point. Obviously, I will watch it and I will do a review and predictions and stuff, and I cannot wait for the prequel seasons and other series spin-offs they do. But for me, this last season has sort of lost what Game of Thrones is, and this episode in particular. I know what I just said, but I am excited to see the last episode. I really want to see what they do with it and if they can bring it back at all. For me, the best ending would be, I don't even know, there's no King's Landing to rule, there's no people to rule. I mean, Highgarden, Dawn, all these places, they're not in the story anymore. We have seen nothing of them. There's nothing interesting that could happen in those places, which is a shame. I mean, maybe Sansa feeds Dany to her dogs. I mean, that's the end for me. I mean, this whole time I predicted Sansa ends up on the throne, but I didn't think it would quite be like this. They didn't have the build-up necessary to pull this off, and I think that's where the problems are coming in for the show. Just not having the time or resources in some areas to make it happen. I spoke to some friends and my brother about this, and they sort of want to see Arya kill Dany now. It's insane. One episode ago we wanted Dany to possibly win, and now we're planning her death. So yeah, Arya would be a cool one. I think in this last episode there was so much focus on her, so you could possibly believe that happening. Although she did kill the Night King as well, so I don't know if she'd get both kills. And they also said it feels like Jon's being set up for the throne. I think that is a massive possibility now. It's got to be Jon or Sansa. There is no one else that could do it. Ugh. If Dany ends up on the throne, like, I hate this show. We've heard nothing but bad stuff about the Mad King, and this show's going to end with us going into the same era. It's repetitive. I want something new. But as always, I do want to know what you guys think, so in the comments below, let me know what you thought of the episode. Let me know if you're excited for the final, what you think is going to happen. But until next time.